when I was a kid, I used to be curious with relationships and what makes people tick and what doesn't. I used to see my parents and I used to always ask myself, how can I have a better marriage? I used to see my friends get married and then complain about their husbands. And I was like, really? Does it have to be this? Everyone who used to get married used to be happy for some time and then they would start complaining. And I never wanted that. I always wanted to keep the wedding alive, that excitement alive, the dating excitement alive, because people were excited, they dated, they were excited, then they got married, they were excited, and then months later, they were not excited. And I'm like, what happened? You no longer talk about the guy they were used to. And like, yeah, honeymoon faded. And I'm like, really? Like, what is honeymoon? Didn't even know what honeymoon was. But I always thought that what if two people could get married and just be together in a way that didn't have to fade or burn? Or what if there weren't highs and lows? What if there was something which was just really good? And that was enough.
Uh-huh.
And I always strived for something like that. Like, how can I win? And how can my partner win? And how can we be like that for good? And I was like, I really desire this. No wonder when I met Raymond, his work is about how to win in relationships through partnership. Like, who knew? And so today I'm going to be interviewing him about how he does what he does, because I feel like a part of me when I was a child, I had this question like, can't you have a husband who is just a partner, a friend, somebody to just help you win? And so you can help them win? Like, what if your job as a wife was to help them win and their job was to help you win so you could win together? But I never saw anyone teaching that. Everyone was teaching everything else about marriage other than that. But I like Raymond because he seems to have an angle to that. And so I can't wait to interview him through his work. He's done a lot of helping through the centuries with people who had marriages. And the funny thing is, he does it intuitively. He's gifted to tap into marriages. And it's like a mirror in marriages and really giving advice based on intuition. And if you've had marriage struggles and you've struggled and tried everything and you feel like something feels wrong about how people are telling you marriages and all, probably this is your chance to intuitively get into Raymond's teaching about marriage partnerships and how that works out. So pull your stool, pull a tea, invite a friend who do you know that struggles with marriages and partnerships, and let's have a conversation. Raymond, welcome to the show.
Hi, hi. Boy, that was a beautiful entry for me. Thank you so much. You know, when you start talking about this stuff and I start to hear people's take on it, like we've talked before and it was a wonderful time talking. And I can pick up what it is that you got out of this information, and it sort of excites me because then I get to say, okay, so I think everybody that comes together has that expectation that things are going to be wonderful. What they don't have is a reason why it's going to be wonderful. They just sort of think everything is going to be great and we're in love and we got this and it's my partner, my love, and la da da. And what happens in relationships is that it starts off with one thing. Something happens and it's the first kink that happens with two people, and there's an argument, and then they're trying to figure things out. There's a lot of panic that goes on in the first and well, this was our first argument, and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to do. So everybody says they're sorry. Everyone says, I didn't mean to hurt you and it'll never happen again. And it's a guarantee without a plan that whatever it is going to happen again. But the problem is that, and in with women in particular, is that the feeling that happened when that first problem kicked in, that feeling is still there. Maybe we discussed the issue. Maybe we talked about why you didn't call me at such and such a time, or how come there was this or that on your phone, whatever it is. That issue gets dealt with, but the feeling is still there. That feeling is an insecurity. That feeling is, why are we together? Do you love me? Do you care? And that's the part that doesn't get answered. That's the part that gets
Mm.
built on. So the next time something happens, it adds to that pile. And then the next time the pile gets bigger. These are all the things that we didn't know how, and no one showed us how to actually deal with an issue. Now, when I was doing work in my office, I had a beautiful office, and I really missed it. But COVID put the kibosh on that. Anyway, uh, but I would see things, and it's part of my gift in a way, and it's part of the thing that makes me a little weird. Is that sometimes people would come into my office, and before they got there, I could imagine my carpet in the front of the office, and it would be a big bump in the carpet, and I would see this in my imagination, and it would sort of tell me what people were going to bring to me that day, would give me some kind of idea of how much they swept under the rug, how many things that they had that they just never fixed, they never repaired. And then we would have to go back to that kind of thing. And so it was a very interesting, time to say, guys, no one taught you how to do any of this. The idea of watching our parents taught us about relationships the best that they knew how, and they had no idea of how to do it. What we see with our friends in relationships, it's like, why did it fall apart? It fell apart because they didn't know any better. They didn't want it to fall apart. They just did not know how to protect it. you know so the whole thing about partnership came around because, I believe, because human beings are ready for partnership on different levels. I think it's time for people to recognize that if you want to be happy, then there's certain things that you need to do in order for you to be happy. And inside a relationship, people bring to the relationship what the other person did to them. What they need to do is start to recognize inside a partnership, what is it that you're doing for your partner? How are you listening to your partner? What do you know about your partner? How do you value having a partner in your life? What are you willing to do to protect what it is that you have? And that's a great place to start. But the starting point is really about a desire to be happy. You know,
Mm.
I'm with somebody that I like. That's not enough. I have to learn how to protect that. I have to learn how to be there for a partner. So that's a little all over the place.
That's really good. I love what you said. Marriage and vows and all of these things is a guarantee that I will love and cherish you and blah, 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 without a plan, because there is no plan, Raymond.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
hope
you're
and faith. But there's no
well.
plan.
But that coincides with this idea about how hard relationships are. People
Mm,
are always told, "Oh, relationships are so hard." They're not really hard. It's just that you don't know how to make them easy. You don't know how
mm,
to talk to each other. You don't know how to see. You don't know how to come to your partner and say, how do we fix this? What did we do in this situation that really damaged what we were working for? And how do we proceed in the future? How do you want me to treat you? Yeah, yeah, you can, and especially in situations with men, when men start to get this idea about partnership and they start to recognize the value of having a partner, having a woman
mm,
in their life, when they start to recognize that, one of the most honest things that they can say is that, I don't want to treat you bad, but I don't know how to treat you good.
mm,
I
mm.
don't know how to do that. And
Yeah.
men are taught from the very gate that women are crazy. We're taught
Mm.
that you can't win an argument with her. She's going to come at you from 10 different angles, and she's never going to forget anything. And we're scared to death of women. Good thing I'm channeling this. Yeah. But it's really true. And so the first thing that you can do to somebody is say, I want to know how to do this.
Mm.
I want to know how to take care of you. I want to know how to treat you like an equal, to treat you like a partner. And the reason that I would want to do that is because when I start out working with people, there's a couple things that I do. And the first thing is I get them to admit that they want to be happy. And then
Mm.
the second thing that I do is that if I'm going to be happy with you, then I have a responsibility to find out everything that I need to do and how I need to do it so that you'll be happy, so that I can be happy with you. You'll treat me better. You'll be there. You'll be my partner. We won't be guessing if I like you, if I care about you, if we're going to be together. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff because I'm going to make sure that you know why I'm with you. And if you
Mm.
know how much I care about you, how much you mean to me, and how I respect who you are and what you bring as a woman, yeah, you're going to feel a whole lot more secure in the relationship. And then instead of having to find out if I care about you before you talk to me, you're going to know. So that means that you're just going to be able to talk to me. We're just going to be able to communicate as equals. In order to do that, I suggest that people make a huge list of what it is that they value about the other person. You
Mm.
make a big list about who this person is, why you're with them, what you can get from them, and what you need to give them so that they're free to give back. Those kinds of things. In therapy, in any kind of therapy, they say write a list and give it to each other. And I say no. I say don't give it to each other. Write the list for you. What is it about this person that you value? And the reason that you want to have that list is so that you understand what you're putting at risk. You know if you screw up and everything, and if you don't take care of it, you're putting that list at risk. You're going to lose this person.
Mm.
Maybe not right off the
Guaranteed.
bat,
Mm.
maybe not right off the bat, but if you don't address some of these things, if you don't address the feelings behind things, eventually they're going to be built up and eventually things are going to come crashing down. It was easier when our grandparents were doing all this kind of stuff because everyone was given, it was a simple life, and everybody was given their you were a wife, he was the husband, you knew what to do, and as it turns out, the things that we did to each other because we made each other husband and wife were so divisive. It kept us apart rather than bringing us together. And as
Mm.
as time goes on, everybody really is alone. You get married, and a couple months later, you're alone. You're in a marriage, you have a wife or you have a husband, and if they're standing in front of you, you're not alone. But if the second they walk out of a room again, you're alone again. You don't feel a connection to them. You're sort of like in your own space and dealing with life, and that's the way it was before. It can't be that way anymore because life is so much more complicated, and we really do need each other. We really do fit together. I don't care what kind of relationship you're in. If you're in a straight relationship, if you're gay, if you're whatever it is that you are, I don't care. If you're with somebody, you got to find out how to connect to them, how to be that partner, and how to get that partnership back for you. I tell people that when I wake up in the morning, I'm a partner, and then I get out of bed. I'm a partner and I go to work. I'm a partner and I do everything, but I'm a partner first. That's my decision, and that's the way I go. The biggest thing that I learned this in spades. There was a period of time that I was working for some odd reason. I get these groups of people that come to me. And for some odd reason, I was getting a lot of doctors, surgeons,
Mm,
and surgeons were coming to me because there was nothing more obvious than becoming a surgeon, dedicating your life to brain surgery, to repairing somebody's heart. You really have got to be focused. You have got to be sure, 100% sure. Can't be any doubts in your mind about what you do. And what happens with these guys, mostly men, there have been a few women, but they're mostly men.
mm,
What happens with them is that they go into a surgical theater and they go in alone. They're in control, 100% in control, but they're alone. And I keep telling these guys that, listen, go in there knowing that you're a partner first, that somebody loves you, that the things around you are being cared for, that you're appreciated, that you have somebody to, if something goes awry, you've got somebody there that you can talk to, that you trust, that you can share all this kind of stuff with, and then go in and be that fantastic surgeon that you plan to be. But do the
mm,
partnership first. Someday, those guys are not going to be able to do surgeries anymore.
mm,
Things will change. They'll just
mm.
get old. And then what do you do? Then do you turn around and look at this woman that's been there for 35 years and you go, who the hell are you? You know, it's a bad time to do that when you could
Raymond,
have benefited the whole time.
Raymond, what's your story? How did you get into all this?
I think by staying out of my own way.
Mm,
I think that since I was small, since I was little, I've always been I've been gifted. I've been gifted the whole way through. I should have been dead years ago, several times over. I was born drunk. I don't know how many people can say that, but my mother, I was adopted, and my mother, when I met my mother, I was 40 years old, and she said she was off on the day of my birth. She was 4 days, 3 or 4 days off, and she said that she was drunk during delivery, that she hated me, and that she tried to kill me, and all this stuff. And so I walked away from that. I danced away from that and felt protected. When I finally met her, people said, "Oh, you should be so upset about this. Does that make you crazy?" And no, it doesn't. It was a cool story. It was a cool part of my life, and I accepted it. And then I ended up in San Diego, and I was healing people in San Diego. I don't know how I was doing it. I have no idea how I was doing it. They called me the block doc in Mission Bay, and I would help people out with a shoulder injury, and just put my hands on them, and I didn't even know what I was doing, but they would feel better. So okay, so maybe it's love, maybe it's getting them to pay attention to it and fix it. I had women bringing me colicky babies. I had all this stuff. So this kind of thing, I do hear voices now. So here I go. I'm crazy. Okay, I don't know why this happens to me, but I there's four areas of energy that are around me, and they're not there all the time. But when I need it, it seems like it's there. Sometimes I hear voices. Sometimes I'll see images. That will appear, and they're part of what it is that I'm supposed to be telling somebody, is something like that. I think what happens is that I just let it happen. I don't question it. I don't understand it. I have no idea why it comes to me, but if I had to explain it, I would say that I care about people a lot. I really want people to get this partnership thing. I really want them to understand that they have a choice here and how to be happy. I want that to happen. And I think what happens is that there are a tremendous amount of people that are in the same place. When you started talking to me today, you started talking to me about being married and wanting to have something and not knowing how to do it. And I think universally that is something that everybody is asking. How do we do this? This is wrong. What we've been taught is wrong. What we've been taught does not work for us. How do we do that? And I think that that energy permeates the universe, permeates universal energy. And I think that with a combination of everybody asking those questions and making different types of thoughts, there's an energy that comes back that has answers. And I feel like I'm the one at this point. I've never read any of this stuff. I've never heard anybody talk about partnership the way that I know it. So I feel like I'm the conduit as best as I can tell. Hopefully, there's other people out there. It's a big world and it needs a lot of people talking about this, but I haven't seen it. You
So,
know?
Raymond, what you just said here is you've never read books about marriage, you've never taken seminars about marriage, you've never taken certification about marriage. What about in your own life? Like, have you been married more than once? Or
I was married when I was a kid, when I was
Mhm.
18, 19, and I destroyed that marriage. She was a wonderful girl, you know, and I was just not anywhere near ready because of my adoption. I was everything pointed in the early days. Everything pointed to nobody wanting me. My mother gave me up for adoption. I was adopted by a wonderful family. My mother in that family ended up with diabetes. She went blind. My father had to take care of her, and they found out that I could sing. And the next thing I know is instead of being in a house getting the love and the attention that I needed as a young man, as a little boy rather, I was on stage. I sung opera. I sung for the Lyric Opera Company. I sung for a subsidiary of the Met. I danced with the Philadelphia Ballet Company. You know, this is when I was a kid, did a lot of touring, did all this kind of stuff. And when I look at it now, I did all of that stuff with the idea of if I dance, will you keep me? If I sing and they love me, will you keep me? Will you love me? And I think that was probably the driving force in doing any of this stuff. I did that most of my life. I did a lot of touring and you know played with some famous people and you know I replaced Jim Croce in a band in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had a very interesting life. And the whole thing about relationships and partnerships has less to do with people being together and more to do with people seeking their happiness with someone else. The focus is really about individuals deciding they want to be happy with somebody and trying to find out how to do that. That's why I call myself the partner coach. I don't call myself the partnership coach. I don't teach people partnership until they're ready to be partners. So as a partner coach, I help them understand the things, the blocks that they have, the stuff that they've been told about relationships. We break all that kind of stuff down, get rid of it, and sometimes it's easy enough to say, "I don't know what the hell I'm doing." You know,
Hmm.
and if they can really say that, then we can go, okay, so I'll teach you what to do. You don't have to analyze things. You don't have to go back and figure out, how your mother did this or your father or any of that kind of stuff. You don't have to do that. You can really simply say that stuff sucked. That was not very good. So what do I do now? Well, this is what you do now. You decide that you want to be happy, and then you figure out you take these tools and you figure out how to make yourself happy and how to be happy with someone. The thing about this is that that with partnership, it can't be one person deciding that they want to be a partner and not having the other person involved in this. It has to be two people, or otherwise, this can apply to this. What I teach people can certainly apply to the outside world. If I'm walking down the street and I see somebody and I say, "Hey, hi, how you doing?" And I do that all the time. If I connect with people, yeah, how are you doing? It makes me feel better. They walk away, they feel better. I may never have any interaction with them at all, but them feeling better as they walk down the street, they may say hi to somebody else. They may connect with someone else. And since we are all connected, it's a huge world and we're all connected through energy. We're all part of whatever it is that's going on. And I don't pretend to understand any of that. I've got my views, but you know, uh, but but the whole thing is that why are we born like this with information like this that separates us? Why are we separated? I mean, we're separated by religions, we're separated by graces, we're separated by all this kind of stuff, but we're all a bunch of people standing on the same planet. I don't understand it, you know, except that this information helped some individual or individuals control everything. And I don't want that anymore. I want people to be able to come together is for their own good. That's the whole idea about healthy selfishness is that selfishness has got a bad connotation. People think that being selfish is bad, but being selfish in a healthy way is extremely good. I want to be happy. I'm going to make sure that you feel happy too, because then you'll treat me better. You'll come back. You know, I get very emotional about this kind of stuff. It means a lot to me. I don't walk past my honey without touching her. I don't do that. I mean, it's just something on the shoulder, a kiss, or something like that. I want her to know, how important this whole thing is to me, how important she is to me. And I treat her extremely well as best as I can. And I'm not perfect with by any stretch, and I screw up and I hurt her, and that, yeah, it absolutely happens. I'm not saying that I'm, you know, that I'm perfect in any way, but my intention is always good. My intention is always that I want to be happy and I want her to be happy. Now, from the outside, people may look at this and say, "Wow, he really does treat her well." They look at how he admired, he's so in love, and all this kind of stuff. They may do that, and they may think that I do that for her, and it certainly looks like I do that for her, but I don't. I do it for me. I
Hold
do.
on
I
there.
do all
Hold
of
on
that stuff.
there. Hold on
Yeah.
there. So you're saying the key to happiness in your marriage is to be selfish and to do things selfishly for you. Right now, you're demonstrating how you treat your wife good or better as a selfish
Uh-huh.
thing. I want you to dive in and explain that because we have programming and conditioning that says being selfish is not good. And that's what we're hearing when you say selfish. So help us
Uh-huh.
understand how selfishness can help build
Well,
a better relationship with your spouse.
well, the selfishness that we're taught about, the selfishness that has the bad connotation, is
Mm,
connected to fear. We're selfish and everything because we think that other people are not going to give us the things that we need. We connive and cajole people. We manipulate people to try and get all that kind of stuff. So if you have somebody in your life that is on the outside and you treat them badly, they're not going to want to be near you. You might think that you got over on them. Maybe you scammed them and you got some money out of them, or you did something and you made them feel bad and you got a promotion at a job. All that stuff is selfish. And all of that stuff has got the possibility and the likelihood of coming back and biting you. If I treat somebody badly, I can't expect them to treat me really good. And if they really treat me well, then I've got to be cautious because maybe they're scamming me. Maybe something's going on. But this is the kind of selfishness that is I I don't do anything for Janet that I think she wants. I want to find out what she needs. I want to find out what it is that she needs, what does she want, and all that. And then I do those things because I don't want to assume that I'm right. I don't want to assume that I know what this person needs and all that kind of stuff because that causes distance. It's so much
Mm.
easier to walk in and go, "What do you want to do? How are you feeling? What's going on today?" That is so much easier. And when you're doing a healthy, selfish thing, that's what you do. You don't take a chance that from a distance out in another room that you're going to do something and that they're going to know why you did it. They're going to know, they can assume anything that they want to. So I want to make sure that this is something you need, something that you want, something that's going to help us out, and something that's going to help out the partnership. Because I want to have a good, solid partnership. Because I want you to come back and be nice to me. I know. I want you,
Yeah.
I want you, I don't want you to have to worry about whether I care about you.
Okay.
I wrote, let me see something.
So as
I,
you're explaining this, I am thinking healthy relationship, exciting relationship, friends, you can have these conversations. But at some point, there's the point a marriage comes, and even just talking, even asking those things is what's the word? There's friction, or people don't even think you're asking for the same reason, or there can't be a place in a marriage where that transparency is not available anymore. And so, what is your process of getting your partner to give you the menu, the user's menu,
yeah,
without the twist, the friction, because some people don't have the transparency and the openness to really see that the partner is coming from a place of wanting to be good, do good, or something like that. Some people are in a relationship which is suspicious of the other person. So if you buy them
uh,
flowers, they will say, huh, flowers? What are you hiding?
yeah,
I have seen that in relationships. And how do you
exactly.
take a relationship which no longer believes in intentionality and the desire to make the person happy and plant that? Because I feel like we need to catch that before it fades. Because at some point, people can
Yeah,
decide their partner is an enemy or is a rebel, is against them. And doesn't matter what they do, it now gets seen in a lens of what is he up to? I wonder what he's scanning now.
yes. There are two areas. There are two areas that this works in. And one of them is a much more recent observation on my part coming to me. But the first one is that people come to me for their sessions, sometimes individually, eventually it's partners. And the reason that they come is because they've tried everything that they know how to do and everything has failed. It doesn't work. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I used to tell people that my job was basically pulling the gun out of people's mouths. They were finished. And when you have somebody that is that desperate, you can tell them just about anything that's going to help them out, and they're going to try to listen to it. So there are tools in for most people, there are tools that you say as partners, which is something that was very important here, is that you really need to understand that what we're trying to do here now is we're trying to move away from being in a relationship and building a partnership. So every morning you can say, hey partner, how you doing? What's going on today? Anything happening today that we need to talk about? The reason that you would do any of that kind of stuff is because to get it formulamatic. I don't know. It has to become a formula that you use on a regular basis to tell each other if something bad happens that we're partners and we're going to talk about this. So it's not up to one person to say, "Hey, wait a minute, we're not talking right now. We got to talk a little bit about this." You can simply say, "Listen, partner, we want to be partners, right? We do. Okay, so being partners supersedes any negativity. It's more important than any problems. It's more important than the issues that we don't know how to do. We're partners first, and we recognize that as long as the partnership is healthy, we can handle any issue coming down." Okay, so whatever that is, it doesn't get a chance to build up because we're like, I don't, if you're upset about something, then what we're going to do is we're going to agree that you're upset. We're going to honor the fact that you're upset, that you're hurt, and then we're going to take it off the table. Now, this is part of learning about partnership and how a partnership works. We're going to go, you're really pissed off right now. Okay, so are you ready to talk about it? Yes, I'm ready to talk about it. Okay, so we know that you're mad. We get that. We know that you're scared. We get that. We don't need to talk about that. We need to talk about what do we do now? How do we handle this? So you take away the issue points to a problem, the issue points to a feeling, then the feeling inside a partnership is like that's what brings us to the table. So if you were in a business and you walked into a business meeting with a whole bunch of executives and you started yelling and screaming and you pissed me off, nothing would get done. But if you say, listen, we're going to talk about the feelings, we're going to talk about the problems, then you leave that part of it out because the part of the feeling that you have has gotten you to where you want to be. You want to be able to talk about it. You want to be able to decide how are we going to handle it. You want to be able to know that the other person wants to handle it. If you're really upset and you're trying to yell and scream and trying to get the other person's attention, it's important to know that they care, that they really do. They didn't want to hurt you, that they did love you, and that this was a mistake or this was an opportunity for us to get close. Sometimes things happen in relationships that I look at them and I go, okay, so that was negative. It was stupid. You guys did something really dumb. Maybe what you're supposed to do with that information is tell each other how much you care about each other. It gives you an opportunity. I don't believe that negativity is supposed to stay negative. I think everything that's negative is an opportunity for two people to work together to find out a better way of doing something. Negative things that happen in relationships after people become partners, when something negative happens, there's a little thing inside them where they say, good, now we get an opportunity to work together and to fix this. And we get closer every time that happens.
I like that. In the beginning,
Okay.
you said the
Yeah.
problem in marriage or the problem in partnerships is people have a problem, something happens, they fix the problem, but the feeling doesn't go away. And then the problem
Right.
happens, they fix the problem, the feeling doesn't go away. After 10 of those incidences, your partner wakes up and says something out of the blue. After
Yeah.
100 of them, they wake up for no reason or for something very small and say, I want a divorce.
Right.
What you're saying is
Exactly.
the problems might be solved, but the feeling, the heart's feeling, the scar, whatever it is, does not go away. So how do you suppose we start looking at things so that we solve the problem and solve the feeling if we can? I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I was going to tell you, I told you that there are two different ways that we
Mm.
look at these situations. The second way we're doing it is that once I started to learn about partnership, I started to really focus on it. All of a sudden, I started getting young people coming to me that don't have the issues and they don't have those negative experiences and they don't have a rug that's filled up with all this stuff pushed underneath of it. They don't have any of that kind of stuff yet because
Mm.
they're 20 years old and they don't have much of anything. So with them, you can teach them right off the bat that you go to each other and you talk about these things and the value of doing all this stuff, and that the issues are never important. We think that the issues are important. We think that, you didn't take out the trash again, you don't love me, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. We think that all of that kind of stuff, like the issues are important. The issues are never important. When you understand that those issues change constantly, what doesn't change is the fact that me and you are together. We are a partnership. We love each other. We're trying to move forward with this kind of thing, and the issues will change constantly. So if we know how to treat each other, the next issue that comes up, I'm going to be I'm going to be asking you what's going on. I'm going to remember how you got hurt the last time. I'm going to have all this in mind, and we're going to try not to do that kind of thing because we understand that what we're actually dealing with is a feeling that has nothing to do with the issue. That feeling that we have right now is being brought to the forefront because of an issue. I was asked to speak at a women's convention. It was an online thing.
Mm.
And the woman that asked me to speak, she pretty much knew who I was and stuff, and she knows that I'm off the cuff, and sometimes I'll tell people I'm going to do something and I do something completely different. Who the hell knows? And she said, um, what would you like to talk about? And I said, I wanted to talk about why women never let anything go. And she said, you realize it's going to be like 500 women listening to this thing. And I said, yeah, I got it. No, it's done. They don't scare me. The point of that is that if somebody leaves you at a bus stop someplace,
Mm.
forgets that you're around uh, with something, and it triggers a feeling, an insecurity, it triggers a fear, it triggers something like that. It didn't give you that insecurity. It brought it out. That insecurity
Mm.
was there. And now because a person didn't show up or a person didn't call or whatever it is that you find, then it brings out that insecurity. Now, if it let's just say, give me a second here. If a person was supposed to pick something up for you and they didn't do it, and so you're like, I really needed it, I really wanted it, I'm sorry, I'll go get it and everything. So they go back and they get it. Okay, everything's fine. So then the next time it happens, and same thing, forget about you. Didn't bring up the stuff that you needed, didn't care about you. Now it's like, this is not good. Third or fourth time that that happens, you're pretty sure that they don't care about you anymore. They're not thinking about you. They don't, then none of that kind of stuff. So your insecurity is full blown now. You're like you know that he's supposed to go to the store, he's supposed to pick this stuff up, but he's not going to do it. And you understand there's something, he doesn't care. He doesn't think about me enough. Okay. But he shows up and he's got your stuff. And then the next time he does it, he shows up, he has your stuff. You're still insecure. And the fact that he's bringing it in doesn't change the fact that we know you're insecure. And when there's good reason for you to be insecure, if you try to treat the insecurity while it's connected to an issue, while it's connected to whether he's going to remember this stuff or not, that's connected. If he brings it, it sounds like that should deal with the insecurity, but it doesn't. All it does all it does is changes the fact that next time he goes to the store, he's going to remember. Okay. So what has to happen inside a partnership is that days later, a week later, somewhere down the line, he comes to you and he says, listen, I've been thinking about the relationship, and we went through a period. I don't even remember what it was about, but it brought up a lot of insecurity in you, and I feel responsible for that happening. But I also want to tell you what you mean to me. I want to tell you that, when I forget something, has nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with myself, because I love you. I care about you. I want you in my life. You're important to me. I think that you're fantastic. And you go through the whole litany of things that tells a person why it is that you're with them, and what you think about them. How important are they to you? What do you see? And that thing, when it's not connected to whether you picked up face cream at a store, when it's not connected to that and it's connected directly to insecurity, that's the time that it can have an effect. It can't be connected to issues. I know.
It's a good one. You brought up this thing again, that everything you desire, like, love about them. Write the list.
Yeah.
That was one of the things you said. Write everything you like about them, why you want to be with them, why they're important for you. What is the other thing? Like, how does that, what are the steps? What are the things we can do to really change the way we relate with our partners? Like the
Well,
practical ways we can begin to undo what we've been doing, which has led us to places that we may not like.
I think agreeing to use different kinds of language helps out, but to agree that when we use different languages, it's for a different reason. If we're going to become partners, if somebody says to me, something, I really do like this partner thing. So what I want to do with you is I want to say, okay, so what we need to do is start calling each other partner. And when I say partner to you, I want you to know that the reason that I'm saying partner to you is because I know that that was the problem that we had before. I know that we were husband and wife. We weren't connected, and that was a huge reason. So whenever I call you partner, I want you to know that I don't mean, we're partners and, all that kind of stuff. I want you to know that I mean we are partners. I respect you. You're my equal. You're part of the puzzle that makes us one. I want you to understand, when I say partner, that's what I wanted to trigger. I want you to know that I consider you and I need for you to be my partner. That's because people say honey, people say, my lover, all this kind of stuff, and it doesn't really mean anything. It's cute, but it doesn't have any legs to it. When I say partner, I want you to know what I mean. I want us to
Mm,
agree on what partner means. I want you to know that when we say that we're partners, that means that anything that you need in your life, I'm here for you to try and help you get it, to try to at least to talk about it, to have your back. But we're partners. We do this together. We figure things out together. We help each other succeed, and we help each other become happy inside our partnership. The other thing that suggest with people that really helps out is to say, and you can joke about so much of this kind of stuff because it's sort of silly that we're in this place to begin with. You can say to somebody, geez, I almost told you I loved you. Boy, I almost said that I loved you, but the truth of the matter is that I want you in my life.
mm,
That's what I want. I want you. I want you to be my partner. I want you in my life. And that to me, I've seen people have physical reactions when somebody says, I want you in my life. That is so much deeper and so much more effective than I love you. I'm not entirely sure. Everybody that came to me over all these years that I've been doing this, they all say they love each other and they treat each other like crap. It's like I don't want you to love me. Don't love me if that's what you're going to do. I don't want that. So I want you in my life. I want to be there, and we can help each other. We can protect each other. I can find the wonderful things that you have that I don't. And you the same. I'm a man. I can simplify things. I can calm situations down. I can make clear decisions with the information that you give me, and when we talk about this stuff, I'm good at making simple decisions. Yeah. Where your complexity is going to be all these different things that could happen, and what could we do this? I want to know all those kinds of things because I'm a man and I don't think like that.
mm,
I don't analyze the way a woman will. I'm
mm.
I'm I'm not geared to do that. But when I have her there and I honor her abilities and her strengths, and I benefit from that, yeah, you bet. That's a good thing. That's why I would want somebody like that in my life.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Using our words to build, really telling people why we want them in our life, besides the petty words, besides the, I don't know,
Yeah.
all the ways to escape. Letting someone know that you want them in their life, in your life, because you want them in your life, because of what
Yeah.
they bring to your life that has nothing to do with the money, the groceries, this and that and that, but like
Yeah.
wanting them as a person.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And
You
that's
said,
the yeah.
mm, carry on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Your
You
turn.
said that you've never done a class, you've never read a book, you've
No.
never done a lot of this marriage stuff, but
Yeah.
intuitively you have solutions. Walk us through that process. How does that look like? I come with my husband, or one person comes and their marriage is upside down, and they're like, Raymond, I have tried everything and I don't know what to do.
Uh,
My hands are up. Help me. What does that process look like? Because it seems like you draw from higher self to
okay.
teach. How does that
So
work?
the first thing that I do with people is I get them to understand that no matter how bad it is, that nobody is at fault.
Mm,
No one person is ever at fault when they come to work with me because they both came. And if they both came for some reason or another, they're going to try to work this out. So I tell them the first things that I will ask is that, did you intend to hurt her? Did you intend to hurt him? Was that your intention? And if it wasn't your intention, then we can go from there. You know,
Mm.
we can go. If you do say, and I have seen it where people are very vindictive and all this stuff, and they go, yeah, I did want to hurt him. I did. And it's mostly women are like that. They, especially with guys that are strong and stuff like that. So women might say, yes, I really did want to hurt him. And so we have to back that up a little bit to a time where she didn't want to hurt him, and that the reason that she does want to hurt him right now is because everything that she tried has failed. And she doesn't believe that he's listening, doesn't believe that he's caring and all this stuff. So we do that kind of thing. When I can get them to a point where they say, you know, um, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm trying
We
to
don't
say
know
I
what,
love you. I'm trying to provide. I just don't know how to do it. It's just not
yeah,
working.
yeah. That's the starting point. That
Mm.
is the starting point. When they say we don't know what we're doing, if I can get them, and I know what I'm doing. I know I'm sneaky. I know I'm very manipulative when I'm working with people. I'm going to try to get them to feel what it is that they need to feel so that they can make the changes that are available to them. And so when I can get people to say, I don't know what I'm doing, my next area is, what made you think that you should know? What gives you
Mm.
any idea? I mean, what kind of examples have you had in your life that tell
Mm.
you that you should know how to handle this and how to be a good partner? And there are none. There are no good examples out there. Unless you're a business executive and you stumble into this idea that you're going to treat, your wife or your husband, you're going to treat them like you do inside a business, which very rarely, if at all, ever happens, to make that kind of connection. Um, I don't know. I don't know how people stay together. I really don't. And a
Mm.
lot of the times they're not. They stay together for the kids. It's horrible. The kids know. The kids eventually feel it. They feel when you're yelling and screaming, when they go to bed and all this kind of stuff. It's lousy, but we don't know any better.
Mm.
Uh, uh, I and so if people are really in bad shape, I will say to them, I will try and give them hope.
Mm.
I'll try to say, listen, guys, you're not ready yet. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to see both of you individually first,
Mm.
and then we'll talk about what you know about relationships. And I'm going to give you some things to think about, so that you recognize that there are things that you can do about this. When we start to come back together, there are ways of doing this that are going to be beneficial to you and give you some tools to use.
Mm.
uh, when people are yelling and screaming at each other, a fantastic tool is to say, listen, before you say another word to me, before you utter one more word, you better tell me you love me first. Because if you don't love me, then I'm not listening to anything you say. Try saying that. Try saying that. You're laughing and stuff because if somebody's flipping out, somebody's throwing stuff around, and you say, "Okay, hang on a second. Before you do anything, tell me you love me. Tell me you love me first, and then I'll go, well, okay, then this is worthwhile. Because if you don't love me, I don't want to hear it.
If you
You
don't
know?
love me, we may as well end it now.
Yeah. See that it works psychologically. It works because I was a hypnotherapist before I became a relationship coach, and in hypnosis there is a thing called a pattern interrupt. And if
Mm.
you can get somebody to stop doing what they're doing while they're doing it, you can you can change. You can have a different effect. You can change and alter what it is that they do. I used to tell people, I just remembered this. I had a couple
Mm-hmm.
that they were just they were this far away from exploding all the time. They were like right there, losing it. And so I told them, I said, what I want you to do, and either one of you can do this, the second that you notice that you're going off the rail, I want you to stop, put your finger on the top of your head, spin in the circle, and say banana, 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 banana. And they would go, what? And I say, try it.
Mm.
And the first time that they did it, and she was the one that did it, she said, banana, banana, banana. And they cracked up and they started laughing. And they started to realize that kind of argument, that kind of passion and frustration and all that stuff came from a place of love. It
Mm.
actually came from a place of like, I don't want this to happen. And it makes you nuts, makes you
Mm.
crazy,
Mm.
because we don't know how to stop this.
Mm.
And and it's odd to say that those kinds of things come from a place of love, but they certainly do. You know, and it's misconstrued. You don't have any tools to work with. You don't know what's happening, and nothing seems to get better. And that's I'm going to lose you,
Mm.
and may as well pull out all the stops. What the hell? Not working.
Tell me more about solitude or the ability to be at a place where you're ready for a partnership. You said before sometimes you're not ready, and I need to pull you apart and coach you individually first before I coach you as partners. Tell me
Yeah.
more about what is important, why it's important, or the contribution of each partner, or the readiness, or that gauge of are you ready to engage? Because I think most
Uh-huh.
people would be better partners if they were better singles. But I could you help me explain that in your lens, how you see that?
Yeah, what happens is with people when I pull them apart, it's because the emotions, and this would happen inside sessions, or it does happen when we're on a Zoom call or something. That people will start to interrupt. They'll start to be aggressive. They want to get their point across, and they're not listening to the other person, but they're trying to get in there. They're trying to make their point. This is your problem. This is what you do. This kind of thing. When they have trouble seeing that their side of it, is when I generally will say this is not going to work. You're too close to it. You're too involved in the emotional part of this.
Mm.
And the reason that you want to do that, and then I can get them separated, and I can talk to them about their partner and about these situations. And generally speaking, they're really, really tied into something that happened. And they only see one way. So they're victims. If a person is a victim to what is happening right now, if they see things in a bad lens, like you're saying here, then that's the only thing that they have to go with. So a person with power has a second choice. If you only can see that a person hurt you and you can't see that there's any good in this kind of thing, then you're going to be hurt. That's all you're going to have. That's all you're going to know. Is they hurt me, and why did you hurt me? And why did you do this kind of thing? Well, maybe there's a good reason why it happened. Maybe there's a really good something there that we can learn from, that we can benefit from. But if all you say to me is that, you hurt me, you hurt me, you hurt me, then we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to be able to move forward with that kind of stuff. Victimization is really a when you think that relationships are hard, when you think that people are at each other's throats and husbands and wives argue, and you don't see that there's another way out of that kind of thing, then you don't believe that there is anything that you can do about what's going on. And so you're a victim to that. If you say that just having a second thought, maybe maybe you're being this way because you're upset. Maybe you're treating me this way because of something that happened with us. A second thought changes everything. Then a
Mm.
second thought gives you power.
Mm.
That's where your power is going to come from, is recognizing that now I have a decision to make. Do I sit here and say I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt, or do I say, are you hurt?
Mm.
Are you hurt? Or how are you feeling? Why are you like this? What's going on? Did I shut you down so many times? Do you feel neglected? What's going on with you? And that comes to one of the points that we have to learn in developing partnership is that communication is not what we think. People think that communication, and even in therapy, in when people go to therapists, a therapist will say, well, what you do, and it's not bad, is that if somebody takes 5 minutes and they talk for 5 minutes and the other person listens, and then it's their turn to talk for 5 minutes. And I can guarantee you that that has a flaw in it, because while I'm talking, I have no idea whether you're listening. I don't know. All I'm going to,
Yes.
I'm going to talk for 5 minutes and you're going to be quiet. And I don't know, I can't control whether you're listening. I can't control what's going on. But what I can control
Mm.
is that we can reverse this. In a partnership, I'm going to ask you to talk for 5 minutes. I'm going to ask you to talk and tell me everything that's going on with you, because I want to listen to you. I want to listen to what's happening with you, because I can control whether I listen or not, you know? And that's my job. I want to find out, why are you so upset? What is making you feel this way? How can we handle these kinds of things? And if I'm talking at you, I'll never know that stuff. All I'll know is my stuff. So
Yeah.
communication should not be about having a free space to talk. It should be about having a healthy space to listen.
Like that, because most people listen from their lens. Most people listen from, they pick what they want and they discard the rest. And so you might as well talk your way to death, and people will just pick what they want and hear it how they want and interpret it how they want in that moment. And it really
Well,
doesn't help much.
well, you see, the thing about that is that before you sit down and you listen to each other, you talk to each
Mm.
other, you say, "We're trying to become partners, right?
Mm.
We're trying to become partners." That's the reason that we're going to do this kind of thing. Is not any. There's no other reason than the fact that we've decided we're going to try to become partners. You know why I want to be partners with you. We've talked about that. And so when at this point here, the reason I'm going to listen to you is because I know that if I listen to you, if I understand what it is that you're feeling, then we can talk about it and do something about it, because our intention is to have a positive effect on the partnership.
Mm.
That's always the thing. When we decide that that's what we're going to do, the amount of assumption that you do. If somebody says, "Oh, I want to listen to you," even if somebody says, "Yeah, yeah, okay, I'm gonna sit here and listen to you," your assumption could be anything that you want it to be. It could be like, yeah, trying to shut me up, really not going to listen, really doesn't care, all this kind of stuff. But if you know ahead of time that the reason a person's going to listen to you, or that they want to listen to you, is because it benefits them.
Mm.
And that brings about the idea of trust. Trust in a partnership is different than trust in a relationship.
Mm,
People say, "Oh, you broke my trust. I trusted you. I trusted him to do this. I trusted." I said, "What the hell did you trust him for? That was dumb. Why did you trust each other? You trusted each other for your own comfort. You didn't trust each other because it was really a good reason to trust. You didn't know what was going on with them. You just simply gave your trust, which is dumb. That when somebody says to you, I want a good partnership. And this is the reason that I want a good partnership. This is what I want to get out of this. And you see them constantly trying to make sure that you're okay, trying to look at the issues and say, how do you feel about this? Coming back to you at some point and saying, this is how I felt. And you see that they're protecting the relationship, they're protecting the partnership. And you get that feeling that they really want this. They
mm,
really want to be happy. They really want to have a good partnership. At that point, you can learn to trust. But
mm.
trusting prior to that, I don't think it doesn't have any legs. You know.
Wow. 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 What is the biggest misconception about relationships, in your opinion? This is a quick fire. We're heading out. Like, what's the biggest misconception you have seen in couples?
The biggest misconception is that men think that it's impossible to be connected to women, and women think that men are supposed to react like women. Uh,
What
uh,
is the biggest lesson you've learned so far doing this work for centuries? Biggest lesson for yourself and how probably you deal with partnerships.
the biggest lesson that I've learned is that people are terribly afraid of the thing that they want the most.
Hmm.
They want to love each other and they want to be loved, and they're scared to death of it. You know,
What
and
do
and
you
and
mm, carry on?
what?
I was going to ask
Uh,
another question, but I think you wanted to add some context to the first one of being scared of the one thing they
Not
want.
really. I think it's very, very simple. I
Mm,
think it's a thing of I think that deep down inside, you know, we know that we're all connected, and
mm,
we're taught that we're not. I think that we do want to love each other, and I think that we want to be loved. We want to feel it connected and important, and that we have value. And I think that we're scared to death to maybe find out that we don't. you
mm,
know and it's wrong. It's just wrong. Everybody is absolutely perfect in the moment, whether they're being nasty or whatever. If they're nasty, they're learning something. The people that they're nasty to, they've got an opportunity to learn something. We always have opportunities to learn something that are going to benefit us. Um, and it's all I feel like sometimes I feel like life is a puzzle,
mm.
and that really what happened is that it was the puzzle was complete, and somebody took the puzzle and went, and all the pieces went all over the place. And what we're trying to do as human beings is put the puzzle back together again.
Mm.
We're,
What do
try, we're
you
trying.
wish? What do you wish you knew in your first marriage about partnerships that you know now? What do you know now that you didn't know then that would have changed the way you dealt with partnerships?
I there my relationship was it was painful. There was a lot of growing to do. There was a lot of denial, and I wouldn't change a single thing. Um,
Mm.
I won't change anything about anything because I absolutely I belong in this moment the way I am. And so I'm very grateful for everything that has happened to me, because all of it is part and parcel of the person sitting here right now. So nothing. She became we're friends now, and she's a fabulous woman. She's an amazing person, and we talk once in a while and stuff. And I hope that some of the thing at a very early age when I was being really stupid and not knowing how to treat her, I really hope that that was part of what made her as strong a woman as she is today, you know. And losing her helped me,
Mm.
helped me learn about stuff. And it took years to do it. And I took forever to do it for me to recognize, what I had learned. But, you know, uh, but it's okay. I'm
Mm.
74. I've been with somebody for 28 years now. The other day, she was on her way to work, and I told her how beautiful she was. And I said, 28 years, and you just you are, to me, you are probably in the top two or three women that I've ever met as far as beauty inside and out. And that's after
Mm.
28 years.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Raymond,
Yeah.
thank you
And
so much for being so, I don't know, so wise, for using your wisdom lessons, your tears, your frustrations, and sharing them with us. What I'd like to
uh,
ask you who is listening is, who do you know that would flip around their life using this information? Best kept
I'm sorry.
secret. I'm just giving something they can do to help the person who's listening. I'm just explaining how the things work here at Best Kept Secret, and really how this message or how this platform works is we're not trying to get tens of millions of people listening or following, even though that would be nice, I guess. What we really
Yeah.
want to do fundamentally is we want to share this message at the core with the people that need to hear it right now, with the people whose lives depend on it. And so, how you can add this, contribute to this work is pause. And if it's not you, think who's the person that if I shared this episode with them, they would find grace to listen and this would change their life. Because there is people who have troubles at 60, they have troubles at 70, and they think it's too late to change anything
Yeah.
about their partnership, their love life. Maybe they think the education today is too modern, too 21st century, too ahead. They think the love today is too much, too ahead, too something. But we have Raymond here who they may feel a connection because it's the same, maybe the same time they were born, and they're like, okay, maybe that and that here, maybe he understands the problem that I have because of my age. So who do you know that is struggling with life, but they seem to have given up because they think it's too late? This is the person I want you to share this with, and let them meet Raymond. When I first talked to Raymond, what I picked is that he is too old fashioned to care about tech. So if you're the kind of person who wants your coaching and you don't want it captured and you don't want recordings and you don't want to log in, don't worry. You probably have to just get in Zoom and that's it. Because even he doesn't know how to record and he doesn't know how to put it online and on YouTube. So you meet him, you talk, finish. Like you all don't know the tech, so forget the tech, get the transformation, move. If you've been thinking you can't change your life because you don't know how to place the buttons and how to log into programs and how to listen to programs, this is your place. Raymond doesn't have any of that stuff, doesn't do it, doesn't believe in it, and doesn't even know how to put it together. If he gave you a program, he probably wouldn't know how to tell you to log in. So, do you want real life, in the moment, intuitive guidance for a happy, healthier relationship? And do you want to do it in the way that your grandmother would do it? No stress, no tech, no hype. One-on-one, the way that probably anyone could do it. Raymond is your guide. Please check him out. We'll be putting a link to his website. He has a website somehow, miraculously he has a website. I don't know how he put it together, but he has a website. Go there and hopefully the buttons work and you can click and you can find Raymond. Oh, there's a phone number. If you can't click the buttons, just call the house or whatever. Raymond, what would
Yes.
you like to end with? And what would you like to correct about me and my assumptions about your tech abilities?
Everything that I love talking with you. This was so nice, and I don't have anything to say. You hit it all. You absolutely hit it all. For anybody out there that worries about any of this, fixing any of this, just remember that you can only do it today. You can't fix tomorrow today. You can look at each other and say, something, we're pretty lousy to each other. How about today we try to be nice? How about just today? And go ahead and do that. And then you could look at it at the end of the day and say, how did we do? Did we do okay? And to answer that deep question that you asked, the reason I have a website is that my honey's daughter made it for me. And and I've got it written down someplace about how do you get to it, but I don't know. It's okay.
So
I
Raymond has
have
a
my
website. We'll be putting
I
it
have
in
my
the show
gift.
notes.
But
Ray.innerpower. No, it is innerpowerinsights.com. There
uh-huh.
is a phone number 603-487 4805. Are you in the US?
Yes. Yes, I'm in Phoenix.
I don't know why US people assume everyone knows they're in the US. When I see the number, I'm like, what country code?
Yeah, no, we're in Arizona, the golf capital of the world, I think. I don't know.
It's been such a grace and honor to have Raymond. I have taken some lessons. One of them is pattern interrupt. If my
Yeah.
husband ever screams at me, which doesn't, he really doesn't, like he struggles to do that, I can say, hey, before you go further, I just want to know if you still love me. Because if you don't, I don't need to listen to it. I want to try going, hey, before you cut off my head, I just want to say that I love you and I want you in my life. Carry on.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I probably will try that. Before you go on, I want to say that I love you and I want you in my life with every bone in my system. Carry on. What were you saying? I want to try something like that. I think it would work. The other thing which I really, really liked, Raymond, was write a list of everything that is exciting about your partner, everything you like about them, every good thing that you married them for, and work from a place of if I don't do something, if I don't come up with a plan, this will go out someday and I will lose it all. So look at that list and generously build a plan to keep that and say,
Yeah.
I want to have a selfish plan that I can follow to never lose this.
I
That
want to
was my
protect it.
biggest
Yeah.
takeaway. I think I will do that. I don't know that my husband knows how much I appreciate him or I've ever put it on a list or I've ever read it to him. Probably write a list and say, today I want to tell you every reason why I want you in my life. And that if anything ever happened, I don't want you to ever forget that I want you here. I'm here because I really, really want to be with you. And read the list. And I want to look at his face, take a picture, or record
That's
it
nice.
somewhere.
That's
It's
very, very
been
nice.
such a gift to have you and your powers and abilities, and you're such a grace. Oh, thank you so much for sharing
Very
with
much.
us.
Thank you, dear. Thank you so
Yeah.
much too. And to your people. Love you all. And contact me if I can be of any help.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to talk to anybody. Sure. Yeah.
That was it from us today. While you don't come here for relationships, I know that your business is as good as how you're feeling in the moment. And if your relationship is going south, we can play and hope that the business keeps going in the right direction. But chances are, if your relationship is going south, your business will be following suit. And so to
Yeah.
pretend that we can put the marriage in a bag and just run a business, I think that's not what I want to do. We want to solve all of the problems, handle all of the issues, address every area of your life because you bring everything to the business. And I want to bring in experts that can equip you in every area of your life so that when you bring that to the business, that it's just a quantum leap. Appreciate you, sending you my love and grace. I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful one.